into the game. This game ends up going the distance here simply because... Welcome to Catalina, ladies and gentlemen, this morning in the 1 o'clock position as the red Protoss player. He plays for Team Fnatic and currently needs to play 2 games and win both just to even up the series. So an early deficit, but this is a best of 9 and anything can happen. Hashtag Year of Harstem. His opponent is the yellow Zerg spawning in the 9 o'clock position in week 1. Wow, I'm mixing my sentences up, ladies and gents. He plays for mYinsanity and won week 1 of the hot seat, earning him the right to come back and defend his King of the Hill title and add more money to the prize pool. Ladies and gents, representing myi, it's Petraeus. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the format and how the prize money works, it's fun, but also reasonably simple. 2 players happen to play a match. The prize pool happens to start off at $150. If you win your match, well, you win the $150, and next week you come back and play for $75 more. And that's now, which means mYinsanity's Petraeus, his bounty is now $225. That's how much we are saying Harstem can't beat him. If Harstem beats him, Harstem takes home the bounty. He gets that 225, and he's invited to come back and play next week for 150. So it resets, and Harstem can then try and build a bounty of his own. If Petraeus wins, he takes home the $225 and continues to build his bounty, and that means he'll come back next week and defend for a grand total of $300. And of course, it goes up to $375 if he wins again. You get the idea. The longer you stay, the more money potentially you can earn here. And Harstem is the second challenger now to try and take on the mYinsanity Zerg. So we did go for the pool first, coming out of Petraeus this game. And we have the first couple of links with reasonably... pardon me, I was going to say reasonably quickly popping out and possibly some more, but actually he's just going to be droning up and slowly taking a gas behind it. And he's actually going to be scaring away the scouting probe as well. And this is a little bit useful because it means there isn't going to be any early pylon somewhere halfway across the map where Harstem is going to be hiding his tech as well. Not really want to be sending that many workers out to try funky shenanigans. Of course, proxy stargates and stuff like that for Oracle related play is always possible on this map as well. So if you can follow the probes and you can prevent any from coming out of the base, then you absolutely want to do so. And that's why these Zerglings are very, very happy at the moment just to be sitting outside the base. He does not mind one bit. And he just basically wants to make sure that the probes don't sneak anywhere that could cause him a little bit of harm later on in the game. So at the moment we have Zergling speed beginning to be researched, and note by the way there are 0 workers left in this extractor right here inside his main base. So he is just looking to drone up by the looks of things off the back of this and to see if he can constantly get that worker supply up. He's going to be able to do that. You saw in previous games, Harstem was able to take a slender worker advantage sort of into the mid-game here, and we actually see 25 to 23 workers in Petraeus' favor already. That's also partly because he hasn't gone for the early third hatchery as well. So he is investing more of his minerals back home, simply making more and more drones. Now he's getting a Roach Warren behind this as well, which is halfway done. So there is potential for early game aggression, but I think he might just want the roaches there to simply secure that third base. He can go either way. He can either defend and secure the third, or he can try and go into a lot of aggression here. And I suspect we will find out very shortly, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually the third he's going for. A couple of units from Harstem now moving towards a third base location, just wanting to see exactly what Petraeus has planned. And, well, the Roach Warren is done already, and he is producing 3 of them alongside more Zerglings. So that probably is a good sign that he just wants to shoo this army away. Ling's in the meantime trying to distract the army by moving out across the map. Potential to try and scout what he's doing as well. Harstem hasn't built anything yet this game aside from the first couple of gateways. He just wants to apply a bit of early game pressure here. These Lings trying to pick off this pylon. Really nice scouting there from Petraeus to spot it. But Harstem, excellent defense, knows exactly where to keep his units, and not even all the shields go down on that. So no purchase there for Petraeus. He's going to have to come and try again later. Goes in for round 2, sees the units are still there, absolutely cannot attack in. We now have a lot of roaches going to be joining this army as well. And I think this army, this force here, might be enough to repel that. There are no sentries, so no funky force fields are going to be going down. And Petraeus now, he should be able to use this platform to go ahead and take a third. There's a drone there, actually. It's going to become a hatchery. There we go, right now. And he's shooing this army away. There's a decent number of roaches. Is he going to want to flank with the Lings as well? Where'd the Lings go? The Lings are here. Is he not? It looks like he just wants to kill off as many of the Zealots as possible first. And here we go. The Lings coming from both the front and the back. Instant recall from Harstem. And that was a very, very good decision there. Managing to keep almost the entire army alive. I really like that. Very practical play there from Harstem. And he will live to fight another day. He has, of course, seen that Petraeus has used an awful lot of larvae to produce these units as well. So that was decent information for our Protoss hero too. As Harstem looks to consolidate his position, as he slowly starts to squeeze into the mid-game. Supply blocking Petraeus in the process, always a massive, massive bonus. We're seeing no tech after the robotics facility so far. Oh, and this might be a clue, ladies and gentlemen. We have an Immortal being chrono boosted out of the robotics facility. It looks like this could be an Immortal Sentry style timing, if you like. Now, this is a little bit weird because there are a decent number of Stalkers here. The first the first Immortal is only just popping out, and it's at the 9 minutes and 40-second mark. So that means it's nowhere close to the absolute fastest, most devastating Immortal Sentry push there can be. It's certainly a push, and it is a timing, but it's not super speedy. But it's also not expected. Petraeus probably won't be expecting Harstem to transition into something like this at quite this point of the game. He might think the danger is past, and he might be a little bit lax in his defense. Anything could happen here, and look, he's going back into the Hydralisk Den, which he seems to like so much in this series, but it's going to take a little while to for Hydras to actually pop from that. I mean, if we see Harstem moving, for example, starting to move out with the second Immortal, he could get there before any decent number of Hydras are there, and I think he's just going to wait for number 3, but he really doesn't want to wait too much longer. Okay, there we go. He's moving out across the field. Now, look at this. The Hydralisk Den only just starting now. And don't forget, he has to have the gas available to make all the Hydras. He then needs to collect them all from 3 different hatcheries and group them together. So there is time for Harstem to move out across the map. There are 6 Hydras on the way right now. Harstem reaching the middle of the map, and these Zerglings, oh, they've spotted an army, and he knows that a push is incoming. Right, now Petraeus knows to rally his troops and be defensive with as many of them as possible, but also to get some offensive troops to try and knock down this wall and see if he can force Harstem to warp in back home. And that is exactly what these Lings and these Roaches are going to do. Warping in a single Zealot isn't actually going to be enough to do that, though. Needs to be very careful. These Roaches are picking apart a cannon at the back, but it looks like it's going to be enough to drive him away for now. And Harstem, he's actually moving back to deal with this army from Petraeus. A lot of Zerglings here. Good use of Burrow once again from Petraeus. And Harstem now, he's moving out across the map and he's going on to creep. Unfortunately, no pylon can be placed there. It is very, very creepy. Quite literally. And now we have the attack beginning. Petraeus is taking this seriously enough that he's moving his army back. He's not actually using it for offensive purposes anymore. He's decided the cannon and the pylon wall might be a little bit too much. Second pylon goes down, of course. These Lings are just waiting, and these Roaches as well. They're just waiting for this army to get further and further onto creep so they can pick off the pylons here. That's basically what this army is for right now. And here we go. A single Spide Crawler. Not going to be a match for this army. Or is it? Man, this guy, he's like Rocky right now. Come on, bring him at me. I don't mind. Even getting transfused, unfortunately. Okay, it does actually go down. I don't get made a fool twice in a row. Very, very tense situation here. This army is still waiting for an opportunity to pick off all of these pylons, and Harstem, he's not actually wanting to move forward too much right now, because he is very wary of both of these pylons going down, and that won't be a good thing. A third pylon as security, saying it's going to take you forever to actually kill these, and here we go, massive concave from Petraeus on the left hand side. The Lynx coming in. Are they going to be picking off the pylons on the right? One pylon goes down, a second pylon to the roaches. Whoopsie daisy, there we go. And no, he's actually just moving in for the army right now. I'm not sure that was the correct decision. I think he could have taken the second pylon down and potentially the third as well. And here come the Hydras re-engaging from the left-hand side. Drones actually being pulled as well. I think Petraeus recognizing that this situation is looking increasingly dire for him. War Prism with the army, so the pylons no longer matter. Excellent pickup on the Immortal. Fantastic micro here from our Fnatic player. Is he going to be able to take this game down and drag the series back to a 3-2 situation? The army from behind has now all but disappeared. In fact, it just has completely gone. There's still a pylon there. The War Prism is still alive, and Harstem still has an army. And that is very, very important right now. The army supply is 49 to 45. On paper, it looks extremely close. These Hydras doing so much DPS. No more Zerglings, though, to try and buffer that damage. And these Zealots will be able to rip through the Hydras if they touch them. A lot of Overlords coming out as well. That must have been a situation where Petraeus boxed everything and sent it out. And those get killed off for no reason whatsoever. Although at least it doesn't supply block him. We're going in for round 3 now. Is it going to be enough? Number of workers killed this game. 10 to 1. He did pull workers, so he knows how important it was to hold there. The Spine Crawler getting rooted now as well as Harstem moves more and more units in. Only a single Immortal with this army now. It is worth noting. And this pylon is alive, but the War Prism doesn't look like it's here anymore either. No action going on anywhere else on the map at the moment. Keeping an eye on that mini-map. And is this going to be potentially the decisive battle of the game? Harstem now, he's starting to get a weaker and weaker concave as Petraeus slowly moves units out. He can't quite finish everything off, but the last Immortal has gone down, and Harstem is down to gateway units only. It's 73 supply versus 87 non-stop aggression from both sides, and 46 to 44 as far as worker supply is concerned. But Harstem's ability to replenish this army is beginning to dwindle, and Petraeus is continuing to defend himself on creep here. He's doing a fantastic job. Harstem, though, really smart, actually, has full view of the army thanks to this changeling. We have another bit of a poke in at the third base location, but can Harstem finish the game with this army? Because the longer he can't, the longer Petraeus is mining off 3 bases and he's mining off 2. Now, to mitigate this and to make things interesting, guys, Petraeus doesn't win by default if that happens, because he has already sacrificed 10 workers. So he has to be quite careful. Economically, this game's actually quite finely balanced right now, even though Harstem is about 15 supply down. Excellent force fields, trying to kill off about 1/3 of this army, but he needed one more force field up top to really make that work. And now Petraeus is trying to counter out with an excellent concave of his own. Harstem definitely has to move back here. Petraeus taking a definitive supply lead. He is up to 119 to 91, and it looks like he is now going to be able to push Harstem all the way back to his base. I can't see any scenario where Harstem's going to be able to hold this army in the middle of the map anymore. It's just not possible right now. It's not that far home, but he definitely needs to get up that ramp. Alright, I'm trying to rescue the situation with a couple of force fields here, but there's only so long he's going to be able to do that. These sentries don't have that much energy left. He can probably do it once more. And, well, I think Petraeus is just going to be... He's actually just moving back and saying, can I finally drone up now? Please, can I actually do this? And it looks like he will. Got some Hydralisk being added into the mix as well. And meanwhile, back in Shea Protoss, we're going to be transitioning into Colossus tech. Now, Colossi, very, very effective, especially against Zerglings and Hydras in the late game as well. They just absolutely shred them to pieces. They're like cereal. They're shreddies, basically. It's fantastic. But the downside to them is it takes forever to build them, so you lose an engagement with your army, and guess what? You're not going to have enough time to replenish those Colossi numbers, rather, before your Protoss, before your Zerg opponent absolutely steamrollers you back at home. So we need to keep that in mind. Petraeus has a very, very big Zergling, Roach, Hydralisk army right now. The upgrades, only the one upgrade so far in Petreus' favor. He's got the +1 attack. And he sees with the Zergling that not only is the 4th base going up, but a Colossus annihilated it as well. And we need to be careful here. Harstem trying to force Petraeus into a corner. Is he going to be able to do it? Petraeus feeling a little bit offside here, I have to admit. Is he going to be... He's bringing a 3rd army. Well, those links don't really count as an army. And he might be trying to flank this army out in the middle of the map. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out. Look at how quickly those Zerglings evaporated to the laser beams from those Colossi. These two Zealots definitely have a bit of a death wish. There we go. And moving out towards a 4th base location now as well, and both sides of this army now trying to pincer it in. But with the hallucinated Phoenix, Harstem actually knows exactly what's coming. Muscular Augment's now about to complete, and just like in the previous game that he won, we have petraeus now transitioning into Mutalisk. So he's using this opportunity to grab extra bases, to go into that Spire tech and to say, hey mate, I think I should be completely fine here. If I can't attack into you because you've got a great position, you're taking your 3rd base and it looks like you're holding it, Harstem, okay, fair enough. I admit that you're doing a good job. So what I'm going to do is do the same job you are and constantly stay a base ahead. And I really like this strategy. Mutalisk is going to be great on this map as well, because as you can see here, they can just fly across this chasm and really harass this base. All the minerals have been mined, but these are 6 workers that are about to get taken out of gas by the looks of things. And there were still 2 armies out in the middle of the map telling Harstem, look, you absolutely cannot leave the defense of your 3rd base. Here come the Mutalisks, and it looks like, wow, they're actually trying to take on these Stalkers. I'm not sure how good an idea that is. A 2nd one goes down, but at the cost of a Muta. A 3rd one looking like it's going to go down as well. Non-stop micro here from petraeus against the Mutas that these Stalkers are doing damage to. And it looks like he's going to be able to clean this up. Really, really good micro from the Zerg player here. And Harstem, this is going to force him to commit to an attack. Now, this army needs to do something. petraeus can't just afford to sit around right now because he's in a good position. But the army does, at the end of the day, need to close this game off. So here we go. 3rd base location for Harstem. Basically toast, not really going to worry about it. He's moving up into the natural expansion. Harstem, though, he's got ideas of his own. He's moving up here too, and he's going to be wreaking havoc to the middle base, actually separating, if you like, the connection between the top and bottom bases here, also making it very difficult for petraeus to hold. petraeus currently supply blocked. A lot of overlords actually going down right now. And it's got... oh, wow, well, it's not going to be enough. We actually have match point, ladies and gentlemen. Harstem taps out. He doesn't think he can stop this army, and after killing the natural expansion, he'd be able to move back. mYinsanity's petraeus goes 4-1 up against the Fnatic Protoss.